Have you ever said things like, "Oh man, I make that every time at home"? Wow, it's like when I get to a tournament I completely forget how to putt. Then you're going to want to stick around for the rest of this video. Spin it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Just want to take a quick second before we get started to say thank you to those of you who have subscribed. Come and view my stuff. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. I hope you'll consider becoming a subscriber and joining the DMD family. It doesn't take long and it's free. Just click the button down below and you'll be all set. I'm dedicated to growing this channel and making it a better experience for you as viewers with better content, better instruction, hopefully delivering to you some discounts in the way of merchandise. Speaking of which, there are two codes in the description below. One is for 10% off your order at LoneStarDiscs.com, and the other one is 20% off of your order at FrictionGloves.com. And I reviewed those gloves in a video. I'll probably link that up here or put it in the description below. I am in the process of reviewing another product that I'm excited about releasing soon, so hopefully I'll have another code through there. And I'm in talks with two other companies to get their products and review them, and hopefully be able to give you, pass along some discounts to those as well. So I'm really excited about everything that's happening. Things are starting to pick up steam, and it's all thanks to you all. So thanks again, and let's keep growing. Let's get to the video.
Hey DMD family, welcome back to another Discs MD video. Bunky here, and today we're going to talk about putting. And for those of you who have ever said those statements that I made in the opening, this video is for you. Because I know we all have those moments in tournament or in competition where we just feel like we've forgotten how to putt. And I believe that it has to do with the way we practice. Now, I know Robbie C put out a video on this last week, and I'll link it in the description below and probably put a card tag up here for you to click. Not that you haven't watched it already, because if you're watching me, I'm sure you're watching Robbie C. But I had this video scheduled before he released. I saw that he released that one, and I watched his video, and I'm still going to release this one because I think there are some different angles that I take from what he said, and there's some similarities. But even those similarities, I think we need to see those again and again from different people, just to realize that we're not the only ones having these issues, and we're not the only ones saying these things. So I think there are three different areas that I think that we need to focus on to stop doing certain things, both while we're putting and while in practice and while we're putting in tournaments. So let's get to them. I think the first thing that we need to stop is to stop the mindless repetition. And hear me out before you start blasting me with comments on this, because I know that I've said over and over again that sporting movements are muscle memory. So it takes repetition in order to get consistent with them. And I still stand behind that 100%. But we need to stop the mindless repetitions. I had this guy, I was in a tournament last year, and I'm warming up practicing putting, and a guy came up to practice on the same basket as me, and he had a stack of like 10 to 15 putters. And he got in a spot, and he took the putters, and just one after the other just started zipping them at the basket. Before the one hit, he had the next one out of his hand. And I turned to him and looked, and he saw me looking at him a little weird, and he's like, I just like to get as many reps as I can in before the tournament. I'm not really worried about whether it goes in or not. So I think that mindset we need to get rid of. And quite honestly, I think I had that mindset even up to this year, is I have to putt 100 to 200 putts a day to get good at putting. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, because if I come out here and make 50 quality putts, I think that's going to do me much better than coming out here and just mindlessly ramming 200 putts into a basket. And that leads me to the second part of this, which is establish your form, dial it in, and nitpick your mechanics. Good putting comes from repeatable motion, right? I tell this to my softball pitchers all the time. You have to do the exact same thing the exact same way every single time, and then ingrain that into your brain by repeating it over and over again. Not mindless repetition, but thoughtful and deliberate and intentional repetition. So as I'm sitting here throwing my putts into this basket, thinking about how are my feet set? How is my hand set when I approach my form? How is my arm come back? What am I leading with when I throw my putt? Am I leading with my elbow? Am I leading with my wrist? Am I leading with my fingers? Am I leading with the disc? Right? So all those things we need to think about, establish them in our routine and in our form, and then critique them with every single putt that we make. Because we want to be critical and analyzing and adjusting here in the practice field and not there when we're competing in a doubles or in a tournament or whatever it is. And that leads me to the third part of non-mindless repetition, which is be exact in your putts. Like Robbie C said in his video, don't be content just putting it into the basket. Be specific. Did that putt hit center pole? Did I hit left side? Did I hit right side? And this is where aim small, miss small comes in. Pick a link and hit it. Especially in practice, I would encourage you, and I'm starting to do this much more, pick a link in the basket that you're aiming for. And if you don't hit it, don't count the putt. Or if you don't hit within a link of it, don't count the putt. I think that's our biggest problem when we get in the tournament, when we get into competition, is we've allowed ourselves to slip in putts and think that we're okay in the practice field, and that doesn't translate when we're going into tournaments, because sometimes it'll stay in. Most of the times, like Robbie C said in his video, it's going to spit out. So the first thing we need to stop doing when we practice is mindless repetition. Be intentional, be deliberate about our form and our mechanics and where we're hitting in the basket, and make sure we're precise. The second thing that we need to stop doing is, and this is in line with what Robbie C was saying in his video, but I think we need to hear this. We need to stop putting the exact same way all the time when we putt in our practice, right? Same distance, same foot setup, same elevation, right? We need to diversify our putting practice. And the first part of that is diversifying the style putting. Again, I'm going to reference Robbie C's video again, because really this has become a response to video to his, but not really. But thank you, Robbie. I appreciate it. I am a stagger putter. So if I stand here on flat ground with my feet the exact same way and spin putt from a certain distance over and over and over again, that's great. But what happens when I get to the course in a tournament or in a competitive environment and I can't stagger and I can't spin, right? How is my straddle? How is my push? How is my putting from a knee, right? How are my turbo putts? How are my scuba putts, right? Like Robbie C told us about in his video. We need to diversify our putting and make sure we're doing every single stance, every single variation that we can think of when it comes to styles and forms of putting. The second part of that is drilling ourselves or doing different things when we putt. Does this seem familiar to you? I have a tape measure set up and I have 15, 20, 25, and 30 feet marked. I have my stack. Sorry. And right now I only have 3 bennies. Robbie C, I'm working on it. I want to get 10 of these, but I don't have it right now. I only have 3. I have my stack of putters. I line up from a certain distance and just put them all in, get them all back, move back 5 feet, put them all in, get them back, move back 5 feet, right? We have to stop that, because in a tournament, do I get to do that? No. I'm putting once every maybe 15 minutes when it matters, right? I don't get to take 10 chances at one spot to see if I can make the putt. We need to diversify our putting practice and do different things, do different drills. I have a drill where I come out with my putters and I just randomly throw them around my yard. And I see how many out of 10 I can make, but they're all at different distances and different angles, right? Because, I mean, let's be honest, I can stand here with a stack of 10 discs and make 8 of them, but if I miss the first one, that's the one that I need to make in the tournament, right? So we need to be doing different types of drills, different styles of drills, and different challenges for ourselves when we come out to putt, and not just, okay, make 10 in a row, because that doesn't simulate game experience. And we need to start simulating game experience more in our practice. And the last thing I wanted to talk about stopping is not really related to our practice sessions, but more our competitive events. And that is, we need to stop thinking. Right, just like that. Stop thinking. Use this environment to think, right? What is practice for? Practice is for us to analyze and evaluate and tweak. We think here so that we don't have to think there. I coach this with my softball girls all the time. You don't have time. You don't have competitive advantage when you have to think about something when you're in a game environment. It's the same thing for us when we're in a tournament. I can't get up to a putt in a tournament and think, are my feet set right? Is my hand in the right position? Is my arm path good? Am I letting it go? I have one chance to make that putt. I have to be able to step up to the putt, visualize it, and just put it in the basket. Now, if you want to have like a trigger to help you get something down that you need to remember during your putt, or we all have those things that if I don't do this, I'm not making the putt, right? Figure that out in practice and then develop that routine here, right? I had a buzz phrase when I got up to bat in baseball because I knew that I short-armed stuff when I swung, right? And my buzz line before I stepped into the box was short 2, long through, right? Get my hands to the ball quick, short 2, and then extend, explode, extend through the ball, as my follow through. That was the only thing that I said and the only thing that I was thinking when I got into that batter's box. I wasn't thinking about anything else. Why? Because I was relying on the hours and hours and hours of practice that I've done before that to get my body to a place where it just does it instinctively. And that's where we should be with putting. All the time that we spend here doing what we do here should prepare our bodies to instinctively make this putt when it's go time. So I would encourage you, and I've had to do this for myself, don't think when you putt in a tournament. Just throw it in the basket. Like if you want to have, okay, I have to focus on one length, fine. Focus on the length, but don't go through everything that you have to do to make that putt successful when you're making the putt. Step up to the putt, grab your length, and just throw the disc. Your body should know exactly what to do. So there you have it. There are the 3 things that I think that we need to stop doing. We need to stop the mindless repetition. We need to stop the robotic, singular focus putting practice sessions. And we need to stop thinking when we're in a tournament. And trust me, if we overanalyze everything that we do in a tournament, we are going to score terribly. We need to stop thinking during a tournament and just let our body react. The other thing that we can do is make mental notes of the things that we're having issues with in a tournament. As far as our putting is concerned, I do this as a coach for my softball team. When we're playing a game, me and my assistant coaches are evaluating what's going on in the field during the game and making notes, either writing them down or making mental notes. Okay, these are problem areas that we have to focus on when we get back to practice. I'm not adjusting them in the game. I'm going to wait. We're going to play the game out. What happens, happens. And then when I get back to the practice stage, we address all the issues from the previous competition. Don't try to fix yourself during a tournament. Don't try to fix yourself during competitive play. Take your practice time. Take mental notes during that. You can even write them down in between rounds or after the round so you don't forget. Then when you get back to practice on the putting practice green, Then you can correct those things for the next turn. So these are the things that I think we need to, again, stop doing in our practicing of putting, and how we need to approach our putting practice. And I think if we do these things, I think it's going to make us better at what we do, and make us more accurate and more successful when we're on the putting green in our competitive play. Anyway, thanks for joining in. Put in the comments below what you think, and how this may affect you and help you in your putting game. Let's, again, have a conversation about it. I love talking to you all and commenting back and forth. It's the most fun I think I have, is commenting back and forth with people. So go ahead and use the comments below. And until next time, enjoy the journey.